Hey, what's up, traders? This is the watch list video for Monday, March 14th. Just a quick heads up for those of you that don't realize, maybe you're out of the country, you're not a U.S. citizen or something, but the time changed. So I'm giving this, we're an hour ahead. Put our clocks an hour ahead, 2 o'clock this morning or whatever. So, be aware that we all lost an hour this weekend. All right, so just wanted to give everybody a heads up in case you didn't know. The SPY on Friday had a gap up, but kind of an ugly day. And I'm telling you, the daily chart feels heavy here. And there's really not a lot of great macro news out there. So I am not an investor or swing trader. I don't give advice in those capacities, but it sure feels like the market's heavy. Having said that, anything can happen, right? We could gap up 700 points tomorrow morning on the Dow because there's a lot of headline risk for both sides. So I'm just taking it day by day, and I make my money between the bells. So here's what we're watching, or here's at least what I'm going to be watching tomorrow for potential intraday trades. I'm in cash overnight every night. CLSD, big volume, closed way off of its highs, but I'll tell you let me go to 5-minute candles and show you Friday's action. So it gapped up and then rolled over. When it starts to look about like this, I almost dismiss it, like say, okay, well, there won't be any long trades in this thing. But then lo and behold, in the afternoon, it starts to kind of show some strength, and then you could see what happened. It actually ripped and took out the high of day. And this move here went from like $1.85 to almost $2.15 in 10 minutes, which percentage-wise is pretty good. You see the volume that came in, and ended up chopping around pretty much straight sideways after that. But when a stock can make this kind of a move, and it held up pretty well, as a day trader, I got to have that one on watch tomorrow. ASTS, interesting going into Friday because it had the big day on Wednesday, then the inside day on Thursday, then Friday was gapping up. It was one of my top watches Friday for a potential gap play setup, but when I switched to 5-minute candles, those of you who know how I trade, there's the opening 5-minute candle on Friday, and I probably would have got long right here, back through 1050, because it would have been red to green with the high of day, just 20 cents above that, and then a recent high not far away. I think we could have got a little mini short squeeze, but it never happened, right? So I never got involved with it. But at the same time, this is still pretty strong compared to where it was 4 sessions ago and holding up fairly well. Obviously, kind of an ugly day on Friday, but this is one that if it trades in a narrow range for a while and then lights up the new highs ticker, especially with some catalysts above on the chart, I think we could get a nice trade. So I'm going to have it on a chart. DRCT, another one that was kind of strong, gave it all back, and it's starting to curl back up. So I want to keep an eye on that one. A few of these baby oil plays, I'm going to keep them on watch because they had massive moves. And now a lot of them are coming back down close to that buy zone we look for between the 8 and the 20 EMA on the daily chart. HUSA not quite to that zone. That's between the blue and red line. But still, worth keeping on watch in case oil gets a pop. INDO, actually, it did make it down to that buy zone. It certainly goes on bounce watch. MARPS is another one. Made it to the buy zone. I almost nibbled under 10. If I was a swing trader, I would have nibbled under 10 and held that one. But I'm a day trader, so I didn't, and it didn't give any kind of day trade entry. Definitely goes on bounce watch tomorrow. NINE, I believe another oil and gas play, kind of stopping, came back down to the 8-day. Excuse me, DWAC. It's not a pretty chart, but certainly a lot of people watching it. If Truth Social comes out with a headline, they finally ironed out the kinks, and maybe now everyone's going to be able to get on board, this could get a nice pop out of that. And keep in mind, a little over a week ago, this was over $100. And we go to 15-minute candles, which is, what I like to do. Let's see, right here, it was over $100. These vertical lines are the opening session, the beginning of the opening of the session. I didn't word that very well, but anyway, it was over $100 back here on March 2nd. All right, so what happened? That day after it broke 100, it never broke its early high, right? When I say early high, I mean from early in the session, never broke it. The next day, broke 100 briefly, but never broke that early high. Notice it put in its early high, about an hour in. Okay, let's go to the next day. Never broke its early high. The next day, same thing. Then it started to get ugly. Next day, there's the early high. Next day, there's the early high. The next day, there's the early high. And then finally, Friday, it kind of, maybe put in a higher low, but never broke the early high, but much more narrow range. So I do like the looks of this, especially with headline risk to shorts in this case, and a recent kind of big mover. I think this time to put DWAC on bounce watch. APPH, kind of an interesting daily chart. Had a nice run from like $3 to almost $6 in a little over a week. 2-day pullback, a gap down, and then a rip. And now Friday, a quiet inside day. You have 1, 2, 3 potential catalysts above on the chart. That goes on long watch. DBGI goes on long watch. It popped about a week ago to 205, and then on Friday actually hit $1.99 before closing at 174. Gotta love this over 2 with that 205 high, not very far above. And then lastly, MULN, which had this massive rip almost 2 weeks ago from 95 cents to $1.95. So it basically doubled in a day. Came back down, looked like it was rolling over, and then had a nice secondary pop to $1.44, right? So it looked like this, and then people start to say, well, maybe this still has some juice in it. Then it flags for a couple days, and then had a pretty nice high volume pop, topped out right at $1.50, which makes it interesting too, like a half number inflection point. So this one is on long watch for Monday as well. And we'll add other gappers in the pre-market as well. Let's take A+ setups only on Monday. Work together like we always do. I'm done babbling. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. And I'll see everybody in the chat room on Monday morning.